And let's give it a minute and find out. Oh, looks like I am. Okay. Hello, nobody in chat yet. I think tonight I'm going to be focusing on looking at that code that we used last week. So last week we were just focusing on making sure that those 3D models were working and being imported correctly. So we're just using the code that I got from Ponut64, who in turn edited it from XL2's demo for loading his I guess proprietary would be the word for it, Z-Stream tools. So you can actually see this line right here, where the Z-Stream folder, we have an entire set of libraries here. You can go in here and look real quick, where we have ZT common as our main include statement, and that will start pulling in not only Joe Engine, which is kind of redundant in my scope, but also some other things, notably tools, load model, and also all these definitions, sorry. So I'm going to find out tonight how many of these definitions I actually need in order to do a baseline proof of concept. Here's what we need to do to take a 3D model and display it on screen. So I'm going to be slowly trying to translate everything from well, I'm going to keep the Z-Stream folder, and I'll just treat it as an imported library, but mostly I'm going to take all this code, which is approximately, my goodness, okay, let's just call it a good 400 lines of code, not accounting for all these extra commentations and stuff. And we're going to keep trying to slowly disable it by commenting stuff out to see what's actually necessary, figure out what the necessary bits are, and translate it into my code as a general purpose, you know, load and display code, so I can generalize it. Right now, it's just a an out-and-out, you know, proof of concept tech demo kind of thing, where I run it and I see, yes, my model is working. I can see my model full screen. So, just right quick, oh good, I've got my controller right next to me, so I'm ready to playtest. So let's do compile and run real quick. And then Sigwin gives me the same error it always does. Let's switch back over to Mednafin. Alright. Oh! Sorry. This is an earlier version that was not working. Let me go ahead and close out of this thing, and we'll pull in something that actually was working. So let's get rid of this main and ZT. I'm in the wrong folder, actually. So I had the ZT modeling program, but what Ponut64 gave me, I believe, is this guy, mdisplay, or ndisp1, or so. Oh, which was already open over here. Yeah, I didn't really need to branch out like that. So let's redo that line count, because I'm sure Ponut did me a favor by basically getting rid of everything that wasn't simple model display. A lot of that other display code was actually for animations, which I will get to not today. I would be very surprised if I managed to get to that today. But just here's some basic code just for lighting and display. Lighting actually is somewhat optional. And see, half that code disappeared when Ponut fixed it up for me, so it was actually somewhat usable and legible for me. So we even have the GoRad shading, which I still don't really understand. That I might eventually have to learn if I'm going to make anything look presentable. Oh, some of this is actually commented. That'll help. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna find out. Let me see. Actually, well, before I actually get started, let me go ahead and put out some feelers on social media to get some actual viewers in here. What is this? This is from PSU. I don't know what happened with the PSU soundtrack. Phantasy Star Universe did not sound as good as Phantasy Star Online. And that wasn't that good either. Still paring down this. Wow, this is bad. Wow, I'm just getting one bad song after another on the playlist. I'm just... At some point, this playlist will be set in stone of them. Yeah. My god. I wish that copyright wasn't such a big issue on YouTube so I can just use generic background music. Right now, I'm strictly stuck with Sega music just so that I don't get freaking claimed and taken down. This is acceptable. I'm gonna lower the volume on it though because it's kind of bothering me. Or maybe... there we go. Alright, let me go ahead and put up my little advert there now after I've explained what I'm planning on doing tonight, and then we'll just see how long I can last before I either fall asleep or figure out what's going on. Hopefully the latter. Okay. So, what do we got? Let's see. We got Joe Engine, Z-Stream includes... That makes sense. Let's see. I don't want to take away credit from XL2, but I do want to try and get rid of as many superfluous lines as possible. Like this. I don't think I actually need this. He was predefining a certain number, and now I'm assuming this number. Let's actually pull in some of these definitions. What are we including? We're including Joe Engine, Z-Stream Common, who in turn is loading up tools and load model. Is that a .c or .h? Both .h's. Okay, we'll just do load model.h with a capital for some reason, and tools. Let's figure out where's Gore Real Max coming from. Where are we defining that? My thought is it's going to be somewhere in these two files. There we go. 750. Wow, okay, so it's truly redundant. So this line 750, Go Real Max is already 750. I guess that was like an empirically derived number where he just kept trying stuff until it broke. Or maybe, you know, just an inherent limitation in the Saturn. VWork. Where do we use VWork? Okay, we need VWork in order to use the GoRad shading. So what I'm going to do first is see if I can't strip the GoRad shading before moving on to... probably not today, probably a much later date. I will actually figure out how I want to light things and then learn GoRad shading. But for now, I'm going to try and strip it so that I get bare bones, put something on the screen code. Just figure out what I need to do bare minimum. The absolute minimum necessary code to display something on screen. And that way, once I get this figured out, I think I'm going to try and get a condensed version of the stream where this stream and last stream, where I have a tutorial of just getting stuff on the screen as desired. And at some point, I'm going to have to learn how to do sprites on screen too, you know, like fixed UI elements, you know, fixed positions on screen, or just sprites in general in the 3D world. That way, we can get things like walking characters, because full 3D characters in a kind of like an open setting. I mean, this won't be an open world game, but just full 3D characters are very expensive. And I don't think there's a lot of games on the Saturn that would use full 3D characters for more than like 2 or 3 characters on the screen at a time. And I want to be able to do more than that. I want to be able to, say, throw multiple enemies at you. And a lot of the times on the Saturn, when you see that, it's going to be essentially cardboard cutouts. It's going to be not unlike Doom, where you had the enemies that look like you know, just big sprites. And they had I assume they had a 3D hitbox or something approaching a 3D hitbox, even though Doom wasn't truly 3D. But it would essentially be 3D hitbox with a 2D sprite in the middle of it. Okay, so let's see. VWork is used in GoRad shading. So if we get rid of this line, well, first let's run the code to see if it's still running. Yep. Okay, so we still have the chair from last stream. Basically nothing has changed. Here's the thing, I don't really notice any actual shading going on or light effects or anything. Everything looks like it's flat, textured, you know, self-illuminating stuff. The stuff in the back, there's no shadows cast. The stuff in the back looks like the stuff in the front. There's no angle effects to how the texture looks, other than, you know, perspective. Kind of happy with how the texture kind of holds up. Looks like wood, especially when it's squeezed and stretched and stuff. So let's go ahead and go in and try to disable anything to do with shading, since it looks like I'm not even using it anyway. Background fade in. So here's the thing. I don't even have a EV. Yeah. So this thing should be presuming that I'm loading a background image somewhere. Like this line right here, beach.zti, that's my background image. I still have to figure out how to load up a .zti. That's a ZTream file, only the I would be like an image, I assume. So it'd be like ZTream image. But I don't think that's part of the tool set that I was looking at when I got the model loader. So I have to check to see if that tool set is somewhere else where I downloaded and didn't notice it. But for now, since this is here and it's commented out already, let me just junk it. Dynamic frame rate is off. I want to lock my frames at 60 frames a second, so I'll keep these guys here. SLZ display level 7, that's basically, if you remember the last stream, I went over frustum culling, where 7 is, I believe, the closest you can get the top of that frustum to the camera, so that you don't have to worry about, you know, culling stuff that's right in front of your face, and all of a sudden, if you're walking up to the wall disappears. I don't want that. So that's staying. This CD init is coming from, I believe, ZT Tools, or if it's not ZTTools.h, it's probably ZTTools.c. Let me check. Essentially, cdint should be the file system interaction. So it's there to make sure that I am able to load up basically the ZTPs or ZTIs or ZT whatevers, any file that I want, essentially the 3D models. But where is it defined? That is weird. I already had that open and that open. Maybe it's in the main folder. So if I look for a ZT, there we go. See it? There we go. Oh, it's defined up here. It's kind of just squished everywhere else. But here, this is yeah. So this is basically saying, okay, be able to look inside of your directory. Let me see. Where's this defined as? Directory max. Okay, so this is, I guess, defining an array. Or, no, wait, this is not that. This is something else. Directory max. So directory max is already being defined as 20. So I guess that the biggest directory that we can address is 25 characters long. Okay. I'd have to go drill down into whatever these objects are, or these, I don't know if these are functions, or this is just literally an array where you can use a pointer as an index. Okay. So this GFS directory name, does that come up anywhere in that case sensitive manner? So it's there and nowhere else. So maybe I would assume it's under tools. No, it's not here. Here. No. Here. Where's loadmodel.h? Did I lose that? I'm running out of places to find it, so it has to be here. My god, where did it go? Are we, oh, maybe this is a Joe engine object. Yep. Yep. Okay. So this isn't just a Joe engine object, this is an SGL object. So this is inherent to the limitations of the Saturn, I suppose. Where are we looking? There we go. GFS directory name. So yeah, this is an inherent property of the Sega graphics library. So that's where we get that from. Interesting. And this is, I guess, a pointer to a object, a GFS directory table. I get graphics directory table object. That's a pointer to that. This is also a pointer to that. Directory name is... Okay, so that's also a struct that's defined somewhere. And graphics directory table NDR. Let's double check the documentation to see if any of this stuff is just a fundamental. Yeah, these are all part of the SGL. This is weird. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna have to trust this code. So this is, let me just comment this out and move this to its own section. This is file access with calls to SGL structs and definitions. So basically we're just initializing this, and then they're getting written to this object, and that's not really optional, so that's staying. Graphics library work. How much you want to bet that's part of SGL as well? No matches, huh? That is weird. Okay, so if... Oh, we're defining... Okay, sorry, I was misreading that. No, we're defining this as graphics work size, open max. Okay, open max is 5. So what does open max mean? Does that mean we're only allowed to open 5 objects at a time, or 5 files at a time? How does that work out? Because I know if you look at the Z-Stream demo, it's definitely more than just 5 different kinds of sprites, and then there's the whole thing with the level loading, which is numerous different kinds of things going on. So I'm pretty certain that's not it. So this has to be something else. I don't know what. Maybe this is this part of the SGL library as well? Maybe that. Wait, no. Did I? GFS works. Well, let's check it out. Yep. And how much you want to bet? Yeah. So the Joe engine doesn't really give the documentation for the SGL, but luckily Sega does, and I've already provided that link in previous streams. If you want to go up on the stream 4 on YouTube, you can pull it up. Let me. Oh, it's actually. My bad. It's actually in the Twitch panel right below the stream, so you can pull up the SGL library and download it. And I'm not going to download it again because I've done that probably like 5 times already. We'll get this up a little bit later. So right now I'm going to take it on faith that I need all this stuff in order to just load CD functions, which is exactly what this says. This is staying. I have no idea what this is for. Sync cost. Does it even come up anywhere? Apparently. This gamepad stuff. What is? Yeah, that's. I'm gonna push that off to the side for now. Right now, let's. Okay, game loop. That makes sense. So, SL unit matrix 0. Let's figure out what that's for. What is playing right now? Huh. I have no idea what this is from, but it's by Izuho Takeuchi. It's a Phantasy Star or something. Not one I recognize. Okay, anyway, SL Translate. What does that do? Well, we're gonna have to look that up later. So, I'm just gonna push all this stuff until later, and then I'm just gonna go through the documentation and see what it actually does when I get to it. SL Sync. Oh, please don't be another freaking SGL function. Is it another SGL function? It's SL, so it probably yep. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, XL2 is doing some stuff with SL functions that I'm not used to, that I've been getting along with without. But let's look up in the documentation later what they're actually good for. So I'm just kind of commenting as I go along, and eventually I'll have a fully legible in English what's going on and where it's happening thing. Loop. So 1 is question mark, 2 is input, and then 3 is draw, and then 4 is again question mark. Now let me just put that at the end. That's not a question mark. Draw and question mark. Okay, so this is just main game loop. Like I know this is freaking tautological. Like game loop is obviously the main game loop, but you know, I like at least having labels on the functions. At least visually, it gives me something to look at without having to try and translate code, which is like a whole different thing. What I don't get is why the game loop has its own self-imposed while loop when, in fact, normally we would have the Joe core run function call the game loop. So I'm guessing... I'm pretty sure this is for a reason, like some of the... He's adding features. Well, I mean, we're not using said features, but he's adding features that do not gel well with this implementation. But the game loop running in a self-imposed true statement is working, apparently. And like I always say, if XL2 is doing it and I'm not, I'm probably the one that's wrong. Okay, so we got the game loop running at the end of our initialization. We haven't actually deleted anything that we needed to delete it. Go rad color. Okay, so let's get rid of go rad color and go rad counter and she initialize function. Yeah, let's keep that. Auto display. What is all this garbage? I'm... Oh my goodness. That's... Oh, it's casino night. What do you know? Yeah, all this stuff is just more SL stuff that will require reading up on the documentation. So let me just go ahead and put a question mark near that. Fade in is necessitated by the fact that we turned off the TV earlier. So let's keep that. I don't know why he's doing these block comments, single line block comments. But okay. Also, is this where is this defined? It's another SL. No matches here, so that means we have it I guess somewhere in the tools. Oh, it's defined as just a generic voided function here, and I'm guessing that it comes into play when it gets properly overridden. Where? Well, it's there. Oh, there we go. That's... Okay, so... if we're syncing here... why do we have to also sync every frame? Okay, question for later. All the SL stuff we'll push off till later. Right now, we're just trying to trim off the shading. So in the My Draw... where's My Draw? Here is My Draw. Why is everything spaced out in such a weird manner? So we're drawing objects every frame. Enable RTG, and I'm assuming RTG is real-time GoRad or something to the effect. But does it come up anywhere? It looks like no. So if I comment this out, is something gonna break? Okay, I've changed enough where we can go and compile and see if anything breaks. Like a Louisiana-style rendition of Casino Night. Holy crap! That's... what is going on? Okay, I've tried to uncomment the GoRad shading, and now I have GoRad shading, and it's a weird pattern. I don't get it. I've reduced the amount of code involved in display, and I've added effects. What is going on? Okay, well, let's go ahead and delete basically everything I already commented out since I wasn't using it. Okay, so... what is load ref? Can I find out where that is? Okay. Okay, so this is just my, this is just me loading up the chair. So this is, load 3D object. Compute light. Oh, compute light. Let's try commenting that out of the draw function. Is that part of the draw function? I don't get the spacing. Also, why are there two SL pop matrices? That doesn't sound right. Don't need two of those. Why is this? This is probably Ponut quickly translating stuff for my behalf. SL print. I'll keep that in here for now. Where is the calls for updating the lighting? Let's just call this a startup function. Initialize the background. Okay, so now I can... this part I understand. Initialize engine with black background. I mean, this is added by XL2, this is added by XL2. I can just go ahead and combine that without losing credit. And just fix the comment style for my purposes. Okay, is this all XL2 as well? Initialize, load the reference. That just loads the model into memory. Initialize function be blank. And then screen auto display. I gotta figure out why we're doing that. I don't know yet. And this will be for load 3D object. And then it's gonna be prepare what? Prepare the file system for loading things in directory. And the directory that we put all these objects in is again the CD directory. That's just convention that we're using. So that's probably why he used the word, you know, CD in it. We got the fade in, and we got obvious game loop, and it's just a main loop of game. Pretty obvious. Okay. So here's a question. Why do we have frame rate equal 1, and where does that come into play? And if we're going to do that, why do we have this here? Does that ever come into play? Sync constant. Where do we use sync constant? If I comment out sync constant here, and then where it's defined here, does anything bad happen? I don't see where it's actually called. Oh, crap. That's where it's called. Okay. Let's go back. Uncomment, what? This and this. There we go. I'm not sure why we have to cast it as sint8 if sync constant is already defined up here as sint8, but there's no point in getting rid of that line because I'm not going to reduce the number of lines. Repeat frame rate definition, and then define frustum culling near plane. So that's for, don't know what that is, don't know what that is. This is all. What even is all this? It's an if statement that goes nowhere. Oh, no, it's a single line if statement. Dynamic frame on, dynamic frame off. What? Okay, so, figure out what that is in a bit. Okay, this is just handling input. So I'll write that. Be blank. Oh, here we got go-rad table happening here. So we're summoning a function concerning the go-rad, which I am not trying to do. So let's comment that out wherever it happens and potentially get rid of this code. So where does it happen? Okay, so I think I've figured out what the role this thing plays. Let's try that again. Okay. And it's loading. I'm not a fan of this music right now. What is this? Another PSU song getting culled from the list. I don't know why I added it to begin with. There we go, that's okay. We're still go-rad shading, but things aren't broken yet, so I don't have to uncomment anything. We can get rid of these lines. and figure out where we are initializing the go-rad shading to begin with. Maybe it's SL Sync? I don't know. Thing is, okay, let's... The V-blank, I don't think we're drawing, or we're not even calling V-blank anymore, so if we just block comment this whole thing out, wait for things to break, hopefully we'll be able to get rid of it entirely. Okay, so that's just print statements, those don't matter. SL pop matrix, that's a matrix reset after a transformation. That's kind of what you do every time you draw something down, is you have to pop the matrix back to its default position. You can draw the next thing without having to go back, you know. In order to draw something, the renderer has to go to a position and rotate and whatever, and then it draws something there, and then the renderer still is at that location. You got to pop it back into its default, you know, 0000 rotation state, so that the next time you draw something, you can use the global coordinate system. Otherwise, you're just doing, oh, what's going on there? Huh. I just saw the Twitch stream seize or something. Okay, so, push matrix. SL translate. This is all stuff we've seen before. Rotate. Yeah, so this is just moving stuff into place, and then rotate. This is just part of the definition of how we're handling input, is we're only allowed to rotate about the y-axis, which is vertical. Scale 3D. Yeah, so that scale is just how big it's going to be displaying. Maybe I can make that a little bit bigger so we can actually see the whole chair when we start. Display model, we display the one entity that we have, which is being loaded up by load reference. And this group of stuff is just render, positioning. There's only one model right now, so we'll just keep it as is. If use real-time go-rad. Okay, when are we calling display model? Oh, okay. Let's get rid of that. And actually, let's just, while we're at it, just comment this whole freaking thing out. Block comment it out and just replicate the else statement, which is what I want to begin with. Right now we're not trying to implement go-rad because it's already implemented. We're trying to strip it out so we can get to the very basics of what needs to be done. And then maybe later we can go put it back in. So I'm probably eventually going to have to modify this function to get rid of that and then put it back in later. But we're trying to get to a state of like bare bones beginners basics, other B words with consonants and alliteration or what have you. This is already commented out, so we don't need to keep it. We're doing light angle. What's this light crap? Who's doing light? Do we even need compute lighting? Or is that still a thing? Who's got compute lighting? It's there and nowhere else. Let's block comment the whole freaking thing out. And might as well I'm not even going to comment it if we're about to delete it anyway. Means if we're not going to be using lighting, we probably don't need to use this or this. We had to keep that. We need that. If anything, we're going to make that bigger. I'm going to try 64 and see if that doesn't blow anything up. Well, let's see if I broke anything. Clean error. Sigwin. Oh, no, Sigwin just... It's like half the time when I compile, Sigwin just says, oh, I ran out of virtual memory, and that's code for, you know, I'm not playing nice with Windows today. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm getting the feeling that the bigger scale number is not helping. Also, we still have the freaking shading thing going on. What's up with that? Some weird crap is happening. Somewhere the shading is still being implemented. I don't. This is not a lack of shading. This is shading. Getting rid of the code has seemed to accidentally have tripped it on, and I don't know how to get it back off. So, let's get back into the code and see if we can delete this line, or this function, and we're not using that anymore. Scale, let's bring that back down to, I don't know, probably 10. Whoops. Don't need this or this. Frame rate. I think constant. What's going on here? Okay, sync constant. So we have frame rate definitions, different integer types for different context. And that's about the depth of what I need to do to understand in order to be able to use them, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it. Okay, whoops. You don't need, I wasn't trying to look up the documentation just yet. Okay, so what else can we get rid of? What is being called? I bet it's these SL functions. So, translate, rotate, I trust these, I trust this, I trust this. I even trust this. These are just print statements. I think these are basically harmless. We clearly don't need vblank anymore. I could do with some better spelling. Let's see. This keypad handling, dynamic frame on or off? Well, oh, I forgot to try pressing down to see what happened. I got to do that next. SL sync. What happens when I turn that off inside the game loop? That'll be interesting. I hope. I think. I don't even know what this is. I hope that's not it. All right, let's do it. Back into the emulator. I bet you that SL sync is what's giving me those weird colors. I what did I do now? What did I do now? Okay. This is... I bet it's that size argument. That size argument screwed everything up. Let me go back to what it was before. I was at, what, 32 or something? Oh, okay. One model. That's fine. 10. Change that back to 32 and see if that's what, Yeah, come on. Always with Sigwin's memory errors. Not a fan of this song either. What's going on? Another PSU song. By the time I'm done with this playlist, it's gonna be like 5 songs left. Okay, so we just straight up lost everything. Let's Oops. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I probably should put Mega Driver on the playlist. Maybe by next time. Because I finally, like, I was doing the YouTube playlist thing before, and I had to deal with, oh, are you still listening after 2 hours? Yeah, YouTube. Let's keep playing music. But, no. Now that I'm on the full MP3 track list, I'm just gonna add and subtract songs as they get more or less boring. So, I'm assuming put polygon is not the issue, because when I turned this thing off, it was still running, so this is definitely not it. What did I comment out? That it's probably SL sync. I don't know why that's needed, but Let's try that. I don't know what else it could be besides... What else did I get rid of? Well, let's try that. Are we back? Okay, we're back, and we still have this weird freaking shading. So, apparently SL Sync is necessary, although I don't remember ever using it. So, what's up with that? I really hope this isn't something like a switch in ZT Tools that needs to be manually turned off or something. Because then I'm not going to know what to do. Yeah, I know. The color scheme is weird. Like, this is something to do with shading. I need to figure out how it's working. Maybe it's this line. Let's try getting rid of this line. Nope, it's not this line. And apparently the down button just backs me off, so I don't think what that line does even means anything. And none of the other buttons seem to change the lighting effects. Yeah, here's the thing. Nothing in the code says to do this that I can see. I don't know what's going on, and I don't want it on. I want to just go back to the default thing and be able to go back to this at will, not as default. Okay, well that line didn't do anything, so I'm getting rid of it. SL Sync is mandatory, because without it, I don't see anything. The TV off? Maybe the reference. The reference might be... The reference loading. What am I doing there? Just... Yeah, entities, 0, 1. Oh, what's this one? Maybe that one is a flag. Let's see. Load 3D model. And that's going to be probably under load models.h. We just keep collapsing code structures until I find out where that function is. Bunch of structs. Okay, maybe it's load model.c. Load 3D model. Okay. The last flag. Use real-time GoRad. Holy crap. That is... Seriously? The default GoRad is freaking predator vision. Let's turn that off. Always read the documentation, kids. So apparently GoRad shading is just like a default intrinsic... Oh, holy... Okay, that didn't do it. Something in ZT Tools is doing this. I don't know how to stop it. Also, this near-far clipping thing is getting on my nerves. I just gotta design... I gotta design 3D models around that limitation, because either that or figure out how to get that to stop. Okay, so turning off that flag seemed to have done nothing. So what did I actually accomplish by switching use real-time GoRad to off? Okay, we got entities, start address, file name. If I turn that flag off, what happens? Use real-time GoRad. Where does that come up? What am I actually telling the thing to do? I set textures, use real-time. Okay, so let's go to set textures. Where's that? Okay. If I tell it, don't use real-time GoRad, what... Okay. If this is true, da-da-da-da-da. If it's true here, da-da... Okay. Does it not do anything if it's false? This is what it looks like. Okay, well, if it's up here, I guess this is just the default loading code, and all this other stuff is just lighting. A lot of code dedicated just to lighting. The load textures, I bet, is nothing special going on here that I care about. So if this thing is set to 0, why does it still treat it like that? Or maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. Maybe something else is wrong. Also, with regards to the input, pressing down Joe is pad 1, key down. What is this? Let me comment this out, because I'm sure SL Dynamic Frame is doing something weird. I definitely don't want to be able to change frame rate with a trigger button, so that's just gone. I want everything I do locked at 60. I don't care how bad it looks, I just want it at 60. I want it to feel good rather than look good. These inconsistent tabbing stuff is triggering my non-existent Python-based OCD. There. I feel a little bit better. I just want everything to be spaced the same way. Okay. Push matrix. Pretty sure that's necessary. Translate, that's just putting stuff in place. Set scale, that's, Okay, little experiment. Let's set the scale to 64 and see what happens. Not 364. And let's get that song off of the playlist. That's a little bit better. A little bit too heavy for background music, but whatever. Okay, let's try this. Save, run, don't crash. Are we crashing? No, we're not. Okay, we're back to default, and the chair is way too big. So, let's try shrinking that number, and wow, everything is super bright. And it's being lit. This is definitely being lit. That bottom bit should not be darker than the top bit. Everything is being lit with like a white, solid, uniform lighting from the top. There's some sort of light source happening. Which is what I mean, otherwise this would be ideal. I'd like to be able to have light sources, but right now I'm trying just to get basic rendering. So, we've made progress, but we're not there yet. Need to strip some more code out. What are we looking at? Let's go down to 16 for the scale, see if we can get more of that model on screen before we start. For the handle inputs, these guys. So dynamic frame, I assume, was... I don't even know what this stuff is, but it's gone now. So didn't need it. Still need the sync. I don't know what unit matrix is. Well, let's try turning that off. I should probably read the function before I do any of this kind of stuff, but whatever. Okay, so it's the right size on the screen. I'm fine with this size. Let's stick with that. Apparently smaller numbers give me more area to work with or something. I expected the opposite, but whatever. And we still have that shading that I wasn't looking for. So it's being lit. It's being lit still. So, more importantly though, wait, where's the, print F is no longer doing anything. So if we don't have a print F, I'm assuming that's because this got turned off. So that didn't fix the problem, but I'm going to keep it in. I'm assuming what this does is it resets the position for the SGL stuff so they can actually print stuff on screen. among many other things. Okay. Initialize TV off. Sync frame rate. Rest from calling. Oh, I hate this song. Let's get this out of here. Go ahead and get like all the Sonic Heroes lyric songs just right the heck out of here. What I'm made of can. Okay, yeah. Yep, that's gone. Okay, better background music. Anyway, I'm running out of things to get rid of. If I get rid of SL Sync, I can't see anything. If I get rid of SL Unit Matrix, let's run this again to see if I get the print statements back. Maybe I lost them a while ago and I just didn't notice. If that's the case, I might as well get rid of that SL Unit Matrix line entirely and use Joe Engine's default print to see if that works. Okay, so apparently SL Unit Matrix does nothing, and the print statements are also being pushed off screen. So I did something to break the print statements, but I don't really care about them to begin with, so... What did I break in order to make these print statements no longer show up? Let's change these to Joe Engine print statements. Joe underscore print F. There we go. Formatted printing. Okay, so we have an X position, Y position, and then normal F print arguments that you expect from any sort of end print. Okay, so Joe 3D get polygon count. That's going to be an integer. SL locate. Okay, so this is kind of an inverted way of doing this. So this is going to be 0, 0 now. So %d polygons tab. Just space is fine. Let's count these. Okay, so the parentheses counts are coming out as they're supposed to. Get rid of all this stuff, and I'm kind of doing all these edits with the supposition that Joe Engine's fprint is just going to work, and that might not necessarily be true. I might have just broken something. But here's hoping that I'm not. Frame rate is probably afloat. Displayed. And then vertices. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Let's see if that fixed it. Well, that's interesting. My changing of the print statements has completely destroyed my ability to even render that thing. What is happening? I managed to break it even worse than it was broken before. What did I change? Am I got to just undo? Let me see. Let's get rid of those changes. What did I change here? Nope. I probably shouldn't be changing multiple things at a time, because that's a terrible way of debugging anything, but, you know. Okay, the chair's back. Print statements are still gone. So I'm assuming it's because of that unit matrix line right here that I guess I commented out because I figured I didn't need it. And apparently I did. Don't know why I do, because I don't remember ever having to use it. Let's... That's bothering me. Okay. Anyway, so let's go back and redo all these lines. And hopefully... I can actually... I mean, I don't actually need to see what these guys are doing. But it's nice to have them. It's nice to get rid of all these SL functions that I'm not familiar with and replace them with functions that actually do know what they do. Okay, so this is FPS, and that's going to be float over here, displayed. This is vertices and polygons. Okay. Let's see if the Joe Engine print statements are going to break anything. You know, now that I remember that we don't have the Joe Engine core doing that that call to main game loop that we're manually looping inside of yeah, there we go. I bet you we actually have to use ESL print statements, which is making me question why are they not working. Okay, so the Joe Engine print statements are now non-functional because probably because we're not running Joe core. Let me pull up the function. It's something like this. If I go, let me go take a quick peek over into my my main game code and just see what it looks like real quick. So core run, yeah, add the callback. So the callback, this line, is what makes it possible for me to just use native Joe core or Joe Engine stuff inside of the code without having to worry about any sort of sync issues or whatever. Apparently, since we're just calling the game loop manually, and we XL2 commented out that stuff, I think it's because he's trying to do some crazy lighting things, which Joe Engine probably isn't playing nice with. So I can't use Joe's fprint statements, which is unfortunate, but you know. The fact is that I also can't get these things to work anymore because I changed something and I don't remember what changed to cause that to disappear. I'm probably gonna have to go back after the stream is done, rewatch the stream, see where they stopped showing up, and then figure out backwards how to fix it. TV off. Let's turn off the TV off. Let's keep the TV on. Keep the fade in on. And see if that does anything different, but I don't think that's gonna change anything. It's probably just going to make things look awkward for a few seconds. Load reference. The fact that these guys aren't working makes me want to just delete it to save blind space. There we go. Up, down, left, right. Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. Actually, let's make it so I can actually see up and down. Okay. Draw Z distance is Z distance away, and then YY, XX. Let's change this. Well, first off, oops. I want to go into the documentation and find the enumerated key so I can just copy and paste some stuff. There we go. I want to change this so I can actually explore the, whatchamacallit, the diagram, or the 3D model, sorry. So instead of the degree being changed by left and right joypad keys, let me change them with the there we go, the triggers. Z distance up and down for forward and back makes sense. I'm going to keep it like that. I don't see a reason why I need to split this out into if and else if. Especially since it's not really possible for you to press up and down on a real controller anyway, but I guess he wants to... Who cares? These two cancel each other out anyway mathematically. You don't really need to make that kind of precaution. Let me make a few new parameters. Where's Z's distance? Where is that? There we go. Just gonna be 0 and 0, and they're gonna be... Let's get rid of these non-spaced equal signs. That bothers me. X distance, Y distance, and in the draw function, I don't know why this isn't that, but Y distance, yeah. X distance. Presumably that will let me do things like go up and down and left and right and what have you. So, first off, what are we changing? We want, using my convention from earlier, let's call Z up and C down. So Z will increase Y distance. Right, there we go. And we'll just do it by that same increment. It occurs to me that it would be easier to copy and paste the related lines as opposed to the angled lines, but whatever. Joe key, that's going to be Joe key C, I believe. There we go. And let's do the smart thing, copy the very similar looking line, and just change a couple characters. X distance, and then negative would be left, and positive would be right. All caps. I mean, this isn't exactly stripping down the code, but, you know, I want to be able to see the whole model. Now I can't see anything. What broke for that to be... What did I break? End file. Okay, game loop fade in. Okay. Let's, get these guys back in. Okay, apparently that's super important now. Or at least the fade in is. So XL2 is making me relearn how to freaking just get the thing to turn on. Okay. Why isn't it fading in? Handling input should not have changed the basic ability for the game to display stuff, so something else has changed. Fade in is uncommented, so it should be able to run. I left this stuff in. Reference is loading. My draw is happening. Like it's happening. I really hope that it's not these guys, because that's gonna make me a sad panda. Maybe the parentheses around the quantities was what was needed. Wouldn't make a lot of sense. Parentheses don't really give you a type. It's not like it's casting something or whatever. But that's what fixed it. Okay. Friggin' okay, so the C is not doing anything. Well, I mean, it's better. I like this. I don't like that C doesn't work. Maybe I screwed that up somehow. Maybe it's just the C button. Doesn't change the main problem that I'm having here. Okay. Oh. Whoops. That's silly. I don't need a degree to angle conversion there. I just need some sort of casted flow. Okay. Actually, here's a fun question for the audience, since I am never going to be able to figure this out. Why do I need to put parentheses around these quantities, which are fixed, whatever that is? Is that a defined struct somewhere, or a defined quantity? Because they're acting like just. Let me check the tools right quick. Is there a toFixed function here? It's being called a great number of times from somewhere. It's not in loadmodels.c. Oh, that's my code. Is it in loadmodels.h? It's not there. Is it in ZT-tools? It's being called as ZT-tools. Is this like a basic C thing that I just don't know about? I don't think it is. Oh, maybe it is. Well, I don't need a match case. I just want to find out where this function is coming from. And it's using. Here's ZT-tool, ZT-tool C, load model C. Am I missing any, common? Can't be common, is it? Well, it's apparently a C fundamental function. I just don't know where to find it. Well, I assume it's just some way of handling numbers that I just don't understand for now, and I'll have to do some homework later on, because I don't want to have to read this entire stream. Okay, so let's figure out why my chair is being lit in such an odd way. Is that like a default Saturn setting or something? Okay, sorry, Big, but no. That's slightly better. Okay. Okay. We have handling inputs. That's handled. Handle input is handled. Main game loop. Apparently if I touch anything there, everything breaks. I need to look up what this do and this do, but that's for later. Initialize. TV off, and if I turn this off... Now let me comment that out, see if I break anything. So I'm not going to turn off the TV, and I'm assuming that's probably going to break something. Or not? I think it's just for convenience of, you know, not having garbage load up while you're temporarily... Well. Hey, wait a minute. That model should not have a bottom there. I shouldn't have that polygon being rendered. That should definitely not be there. I need to go in Blender and cull one more face. Well, I'm probably not even going to use this model in the end result anyway. Those legs are fine, though. It should look like the bottom, or the top of these legs, where everything's being culled. Fine. Yeah, there we go. So, with the exception of the bottom of that chair back... Wow, that is disorienting. I shouldn't be this close to any object. Okay. Backface culling is working as it should be. It's just the lighting that weirds me out. I want neutral lighting. I just want default, universal, no preferred direction lighting, because I know that freaking that dark light thing is just lighting coming from either my direction or someone else's direction. I don't know. Should also probably figure out a way to black out the screen or something. Yeah, this isn't helping me too much anymore, but let me see. Oh, I can add callbacks to the slave CPU. Interesting. This is so we can do dual core processing. Yeah. Boot menu. Maybe another time. Let me see. Let's see. Disable reset. That's interesting. I didn't know that was an option. I thought that was like a hardwired thing in the Saturn. I don't think I'm going to find what I'm looking for here. What else can I get rid of on that model to convince it to stop lighting it in such a weird way? Let me just get rid of that. And then when I have display model, I'll have to, I don't need this anymore. What is going on? Unit matrix. Established that I need that, but I can't remember why. I think it's time for me to finally go into my documentation there. Figure out where this line specifically, what are we looking at? SL unit matrix. It's either here or here, one of these two guys. Probably in this. Make specified matrix a unit matrix. So that should be pointed at who? 0? What happens when you use 0 there? So I guess that's kind of like a universal matrix pop, because that 0 is being used not as a value, but as a pointer, which is, I guess, the first place in memory. I don't know. I guess that's just, I don't know what that is. That has to be, well, it's not luck. XL2 knows something I don't, and I can't figure out right away. Synchronize with event processing unit time. So what's this, this little diagram will explain what's going on here better than words can, probably. Data transfer, event processing, okay. So it'll wait until processes are done before it blinks the screen and does things again. Speaking of blinking the screen, am I not doing that right now? No, I have to be blinking in order to display, because otherwise things would look like shadows and trippy 3D vision. It's just that the background looks like garbage, and I don't know how to reset that. So, these guys look like they're probably necessary. So again, pop matrix to unit, matrix at pointer 0. I still have to figure out what it means. What's at location 0 in the memory, if that's what that really means. SL sync is force screen blinking to wait until events are done processing. That's apparently what that line means, according to the documentation. Anything else with a question mark at the end of it that I need to fill in the blanks for? SL pop matrix. Let's. Oh. There we go. Calling a temporary stored matrix. Sends the matrix buffer back one step. I would have to know a lot more about how the memory structures and drawing logic of the Saturn are on a much more internal level to figure out what this is doing. Because as far as I can tell, what this is doing is moving a memory address for whatever matrix you're drawing earlier on in a stack. But I don't know anything about the stack structure for this thing, so this stays. Pop matrix. Okay. Well, push matrix is happening first, which probably will help explain what's going on here. This documentation is wrong. It's push matrix. They're saying pop matrix. Someone copied and pasted lazily at Sega like 20 years ago, and now I caught him. Okay, this function advances matrix buffer. Okay, so what this says is I can write literally what's going on, but it's probably not going to be helpful to anyone, but, you know, whatever. Advance matrix buffer pointer one step. And then return back one step. Okay, essentially we're going to I guess a place in memory where the matrix where there is a matrix that tells us how to draw things on screen, 3D objects on screen. We manipulate it by translating draw location. I already don't like this song. What is this? Another PSU song. Is better. Okay, rotation, basically the same thing. Rotate, draw location. I mean, that's probably not the best way of saying that, but that's what it is. Set scale. Sets scale of 3D draw. Larger number is larger numbers draw bigger, which when I say it like that now it makes more sense. Display model displays model, exactly what it says on the tin. Displays model. I'm just trying to comment every line so I know what everything is doing. I don't need to comment game input. That's self-documenting, basically. Apparently, I don't need SLTV off. Let's double check before I delete that line and start cursing myself. I keep forgetting to put the Ristar tracks on, Shane. I'm gonna download that and Mega Driver and add that to the playlist. Okay, so SLTV off apparently serves no vital purpose for me at this time, so I'm gonna get rid of that line. Display level 7. That's, you know, I already defined that. This is defined, this is defined. So I'm getting to the point where every line of code has been commented so that I don't know what I can do left that won't just, yeah, everything here seems to be commented. This is a scale for drawing objects. So that's also basically self-explanatory. File access. I cannot. Look, this just works, but this is nothing to do with display. This is only reading files in. That's what it's for. And so I will not be touching that. So that's good where it is. And that's good where it is. So let's keep those there. GoRad table. Comment that out. GoRad Max. Comment that out. Enable real-time 0. See what happens when we do that. Aha! What did I break? Oh, it's just Sigwin. Freaking... every freaking time, too. I thought I stumbled onto something interesting, and no, it's just Sigwin complaining about memory again. Alright, so let's see, if I disable the enable real-time GoRad and basically commented out everything else to do with GoRad, what's left? The table is still freaking lit. Oh, wait. It's being lit from just the front directly? I rotate this, oh, now it's darkened. This side is light. Okay, so the table is being lit from the front, and I thought I disabled the lighting. What's Segwin? Where are you reading Segwin? Is that, was that one of the error messages, or where are you reading that from? 'Cause I don't remember seeing that. Was that one of the compiler statements? Oh, Sigwin. Sigwin. So, essentially, there's a C compiler called GCC, and it's built essentially for Linux. And the way you can use that same compiler with the same protocols that everyone else uses C for, basically to use GCC specifically, is you can either use Sigwin or like MinGW is how I think you say it. They're basically miniature Linux style emulators where it kind of allows you to use the compilers in a way that is approximating how a Linux environment would work. It's not like an emulator, but it's not entirely unlike an emulator. I'm not good at explaining it, but essentially it's what allows me to just compile with C. But it doesn't get along with Windows all the time, so, you know. It uses virtual memory to do stuff, and I guess the way my computer is configured specifically, or just sometimes this just happens with Windows in general, it doesn't get all the virtual memory it needs at the exact moment it asks for it, despite the fact that there's plenty to spare. So every once in a while it'll choke, and it's just a matter of it deciding whether or not it wants to grab virtual memory. So that's why I get errors like half the time. It's just, I don't know if I'm just pressing the button at the wrong nanosecond or something. Comment that out and see if that didn't do anything. It probably didn't. I probably already removed the effects of that one line already. We still have the lighting. And I don't know why. Makes it look like the lighting is probably coming from behind and to the left. Well, at least we know we don't actually use this anymore, so if we're not using the real-time shading, then we don't have to include that line. Oh, that's just special mode. So, what else is there that I can do to try and fix what's going on? So this is directory stuff. Okay, let's figure out what RD unit is and where that's coming up. If I were to comment this out, I know direct max is being used, open max is being used, sector size may not be used. I don't know why it's not being used, but it's not being used, so let me just get rid of that. Directory max, number of characters I guess you can have in a directory, which is one of the problems we were having earlier. Open max, that's still kind of weird, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. And then, what's this? Is there some sort of flag I need to tick in order to get the Z-Stream functions to not light my stuff weird? Or at all? Music is aggressive. Where's this from? Oh, this is from PSU. I'll let this one stay for a bit until I get tired of it. Everything else is commented, so the only stuff I don't understand left are either Z-Stream stuff, or the file loading stuff, which I'm already pretty sure doesn't actually do anything that matters to me besides load the files in, which are needed for the format. Sigwin, come on. There we go. So, apparently the things that I commented out don't do anything, so we're good. Just go ahead and delete them. And how many lines of code have I pared this down to the point where... See, the goal for tonight is get myself like a baseline understanding of what I need to display something on screen in a default setting. And it looks like we've done it in about 150 lines or so. And I plan on eventually turning this into a tutorial so that, you know, you can just go in and from beginning to end, make something in Blender, texture it using paint.net. I have not gotten my GitHub yet. I promise this time for real, this weekend, it will actually happen. I keep promising it, I keep forgetting because no one actually requests it. I just keep saying I'm going to do it and I keep forgetting. But no, GitHub will be up. I'll put the links in the Twitch panel. I'll put the links in the description of YouTube. And every stream, I will have links to the end result for each stream upload on YouTube. So you can just go on GitHub and request or download or whatever. I need to learn Git a little bit better to actually talk about it. The specific comment for it. So you can basically, if you wanted to, you can try and download the previous the previous streams files and then watch the next stream in real time if you were so inclined. Though I don't know who would want to do that until I get somewhere really interesting. I was thinking of, well, like, all the game design, well, not all the game programming at the very minimum for this game, Seniriu. I want to do live on stream, but I want to kind of practice as well, learning some of the SGL stuff. So I was actually planning on maybe doing a quick and dirty Mean Bean Machine or Tetris style game in 2D using Joe Engine just to quickly get it out there and just, you know, proof of concept so that I can actually get certain stuff working with the Sega graphics library, and that way I'm not struggling the entire time working on the real thing here. So maybe I'll put out a couple like gimmicky, crappy games that are just like little 2D toys, and I'll just release them. I probably need to get a website or something. I'll just release them somewhere on YouTube or GitHub or something, and you can play that on a Saturn somehow before I actually ever get anything playable on this thing. It's taking me forever to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, I feel like we're gonna have to dig deep into the ZT code base. So let's go over to tools and see if there's anything here that is obviously referring to lighting or something to the effect. So to start. Oh, there's a... Oh, do we have default BMP loading? That'd be nice. I don't know how to make a ZTI yet. I'm sure there's something for that, but this might help. Clear text. Okay. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. Oh! I know what line broke the SL display. It's something like this. It was that one line that had these 4 memory calls to it that I didn't know what it did. That line. Actually, what I'm gonna do? Let me go back into the original version of the file that Ponut64 gave me, and find this line and put it back in, so that I can still have my print statements. I still need to figure out what this does, but, you know, that's for the Sega graphics library, so I know the end result is that this will allow me to do those print statements again, which means I can go back in here, into the original version of the file, get these print statements, put it in my draw function. Where are we? There we go. Print polygon info. There we go. I don't need the original anymore. Let's just see if that fixed it, because I'm pretty sure that I think that was what that line was for. There we go, and it's back. We have 32 polygons and 48 vertices and nothing displayed, which sounds wrong, and the frame counter is set to 1, which basically means 60 frames per second or something equivalent. It requires a little bit of translation because there's no text and the numbers aren't exactly sensible. I don't know why it says there's 0 displayed frames when there's clearly frames right in front of us. And they're being shaded. Or not frames, sorry, polygons. There's quads in front of us, they're being shown, they're being shaded. What the crap? That's a weird effect. It's some weird sort of culling, maybe like midpoint based Z sort. No, it's not culling, it's Z sorting. The Z sort is off here. So I go this far out, and now the back looks like it's behind the seat of the chair. Isn't right. Anyway, let's go back into the ZT tools. At least we found out what that one line did, sort of. Or at least what it was good for. Common. Let's see. How do I just turn off lighting? What's going on? Am I using fade in or fade out? Let me see. Why don't we do fade out? UN8 clear BG. What the crap is clear BG? Is that another SGL thing that I don't know about? It's not an SGL, so it must be a ZT thing. So it has to be defined. Where is it defined? Not in here. Oops. Oops, not there. Okay, so UINT8 can also be a boolean, apparently. I don't know things. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just add that line in. Fade out, true. Probably 1 will do as well, but nah. Sure, why not? I think that's how you do true in C, and if not, whatever. Fade out screen and blank background. Hey, we got a black background. That's an improvement. That line's staying in. It's still lit in a way I don't want, but you know what? We got rid of that garbage in the back. That's encouraging, at least. Hey, okay. So we're improving stuff. That's helpful. What else is in this wonderful library of stuff I probably have not read and should have? Clear the text, load. Okay, I think most of this is self-explanatory. Switches the text display to NVG3. Yeah, I don't think I need to worry about that. I don't even know what this does. Cell to VRAM. Memory stuff that I don't want to deal with right now. Map to VRAM. Oh, these are... I think this is to do with handling map loading, which I need to learn eventually. I'm probably going to ask XL2 on the forums what I should be doing or what example I should be following before I do anything. I don't know what PAL to CRAM is. Memory copy. There's a lot of memory tools. I guess that's what this is for. He just wrote a bunch of memory manipulation things. Oh, we got fade in and fade out, so we were using that already. Check on plane. Not really sure what this is used for, but I'm not using it right now. Huh. I guess the header just declares all these functions, and then the C file just actually does stuff with it. Okay, whatever. Load model. Bunch of structs. Go rod counter. Are we using that? I hope we're not. Load 3D model. Use real-time go rad. I'm setting that to 0 already. I think I am. And this will be explicitly defined here. Okay, let's start from the beginning first. Set textures. I should be using false for use real-time go rad, so let me just double check all my true and false statements later. Load textures. I don't see anything here to do with lighting or... Wait, what's... I believe this has to do with memory manipulation and not lighting, but I can't be certain. Yeah, the fact that there's so much self-described quick and dirty code and quote-unquote ghetto code means that if I touch anything here, it's probably going to break, and I don't want to be responsible for that. Much as I like Crush 40, I'm trying not to have too many lyrics in the background, so that gets dropped. What's left? Yeah, it's 48 seconds. Oh, I like this one. Okay, so load 3D model. Huh, now loading. Guess he commented that out. And use real-time go rad should be false already. And I'm assuming the textures get loaded in using the same flag. Hey, where's this defined? Load textures. Okay, there's no texture. Okay. Let's set textures. That is... Where is that called? Is that, yeah, it uses the same flag that the Load 3D model is using. Which, to my knowledge, is false. So, if it's, let me see. Loading textures, loading P data. Just loading stuff in general. Dealing with memory addresses, setting textures. Here is a possible place where go rad shading is happening, but I don't think so. And then clear screen. Apparently he's still able to use Joe Engine functions here. I don't know why I can't. Huh. So when I'm calling Load 3D model, I'm using 0. Maybe 0 is the wrong value. Maybe I just need to be using false. Nope, another Sigwin error. This is a little bit silly. There we go. There, that's what I wanted to see. Okay, there's still the chair, and it's still lit. And I don't know why it's lit and why it wasn't lit before. And all that other stuff was on, and that's the worst part of it, is that now I can see through the bottom of this chair. It is disorienting as all heck. A little bit buggy, I guess. I don't know. I can't even think of a reason why that's happening. Because there shouldn't be any sort of Z-sort that allows that to happen. Huh. Well, what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna have to say that I got far enough to get like a basic load 3D stuff going in. It bothers me that we still have that lighting problem and I can't figure out a way to get rid of it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask on the forums for help, and then I think next time what I'm gonna do is, well, I mean, we still got some time here. Maybe I can just implement some of these things into my home version of the code, or see. Yeah, let's try doing that. Let's try moving some of this code over from this example program that that Ponut64 lent me into my own home file. So we got the ZT code here. So here's my Seniriu. I need to. I forgot. I have to add in. Got to keep this Joe engine. Thing in here. Collapse that. And then my include statements. Need this. Let me just copy this stuff over. See, the thing is, I don't like defining functions and constant mixing them up like this. Like, I'd rather have these all separate, but for now, let's just try to port them over and see how they run. And then my draw function, I'm assuming, is now going to be fundamentally different thanks to this thing. There's going to be a lot of rearranging going on after I'm done importing all this stuff. Let me see. So here's my gamepad input function. And according to Ponut64, basically the way I'm handling the camera is totally wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over what I'm currently doing under... First, okay, I got to get this thing in here first. Handle gamepad input. I got to grab this guy. Let's port this over. I don't need to use the deltas anymore. Let me check real quick. Let me see. Strength. Okay, so yeah, everything should be saved. I don't need camera position next. I don't need deltas. I'll keep this. I'm not even going to have the create and destroy thing anymore. Don't need the camera position. So all that code I worked hard on to bug check earlier is pretty much going to be gone. So that bound camera angle is now called... Oh. Well, it's called YY, and then I can find replace later. Thing is, what's YY stored as in terms of? Degree to angle. You just do that. So I get to keep some of this code, some of this this checking code, and then I get to just convert it into the language of XL2 and Ponut's code. The thing about collision, yeah, I can't even check collision anymore without doing some weird crap. Because then I have to rope in, because before everything was handled by these the entities, and or not the entities. What was it called? What did I call it? Template. Was it the template? It was a game object. There we go. Game object.h. There we go. Everything's handled by the game object before, and now that I'm translating stuff, I'm not really using game objects anymore. At least not for this time. So all this stuff needs to go. The frame counter. I'll keep the frame counter. That's fine. Printf isn't going to work anymore. At least it probably... As far as I can tell, it won't work, and it's probably going to break something. So let me just comment this out for now. And yeah, this was future-proof code that I'm going to delete and maybe re-add when I figure out how I want to handle that. Handle the gamepad input. Go. Yeah, we're going to do it the way that XL2 is doing it, so we're going to do this in a permanent while loop. Nope. So we have drawing. And we got to have the matrix pop and the sync as well inside the main loop. And just kind of keep all the comments in the same kind of style. And then the main engine, let me see. What do I need to add in for the main portion? Startup functions. Let me just copy all this over and see what happens. See if there's anything I added in here that I didn't need to add. Well, this is already here, so... Oh, well, I actually made the same comment without thinking. At least I'm consistent. I don't do that anymore. Start cam. What does start cam even do for me? Do I have a start cam function? Here's the thing. This thing doesn't have a start cam function. I don't know where start cam even comes from. So I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't need to initialize the metal crate template. In fact, I'm not even using the templates anymore. I don't even need to include it. I'm gonna rewrite everything in that thing anyway. We're not doing callbacks anymore. We're not starting the game via Jocore run anymore. We're doing it entirely in the game loop for compatibility with XL2's approach, because I'm going to be using his codebase anyway. So if I save this and try to run it, what crash? I need to move over the ZTP file before I destroy this thing. So what do we have? What are we using for the... we got balls and boxes, stools. Was it wood chair? I believe wood chair is what we're using. So let's copy that over. Okay, now let's run it. Oh, of course. Okay, let's see. Scale 3D. Did I forget to copy over Scale 3D? What was that even defined? It was... Oh, here. Did I not put that in? What line was it under? It was under frame rate. So where did I put frame rate? No, it's there. It's there. So why is it saying it's not being defined? It wasn't giving me that complaint before, so I don't know what's up with that. Redefinition of my draw. Line 99. Was did I do something different or something, or what's going on? Is there a my draw in like display dots? Okay, well now that everything is here, I actually don't need to include display.c. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of game object as well because we're not using that. We're just basically everything is being wiped out. There we go. Now we get to some real inclusion issues. Undefined reference to ZT load 3D model entities. The thing is, I have the include statement. The make file is different. I always forget the make file. Oops. Okay, let's just try opening up through other means. Whoops. So make file over here, and let's try opening up the make file from my Ponut's example code. And what do you know? All this stuff is here. Let's move it over to the home make file. There we go. And I'm betting that's gonna fix all the problems I'm having. I don't need to use game objects or templates anymore. We'll be rewriting a lot of stuff, actually. Yeah, it's all reference issues. And that's just Sigwin being stupid. It would help if I paused Google Drive to make sure this doesn't keep happening. Undefined reference to game loop and move cam. Okay. Well, I probably should have kept that open to see where I was going with that. So game loop, it doesn't even give me a line number. What's going on there? Let me just search for game loop. Game loop. That should be main loop, not game loop now. Main underscore loop. Or I could just rename the other one. And then move cam. Move underscore cam. That's no longer an issue because we have that built into draw function. So that should be it. Undefined reference to main loop. It's right there. Oh, capital L. Case sensitivity. Oh, neat. All right, we have a chair. We have some display stuff. Let me check real quick to see if my original print statements are still non-functional. So let's comment out the SL print stuffs. And comment... whoops. Need two of those. And allow my... there we go. What the crap? Is this another... Yep, this is another PSU song. Okay, let's turn on the JO print statements and see if that doesn't break anything. Oh boy. Why are you complaining now? Wait frames. What's wrong? Nothing changed. Why are you now catching this thing? Okay, that's a warning I can ignore. Comparison is always false to limited range of data type. What? 139. Oh, is it clipped? What's the data type for YY? Oh, it's an angle. Oh, I don't even need this go. That's hilarious. I guess angles have that, you know, modular symmetry already built in. Num object undeclared. First using this function 158. Well, everything's in 158. What's going on here? 158 is a comment. Explain yourself. Camera position. That's no longer a thing. Number of objects is also no longer a thing. Okay, so the print statement single-handedly destroyed what I was doing. Let's just keep the FPS counter going. How about that? How about just the FPS and nothing else? Is that everything? Camera position. Yep, it's all spurious references that I deleted or stopped including. Whoops. Switch over to Mendefin. Okay, that's being displayed, and now nothing else is. What change? If I turn off Joe Print, is that going to bring my display back? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I can't use Joe Print anymore, but I guess I'm just going to have to keep using the SL Print. Well, the stream's pretty much dead. It's got an audience of like 1, and I've pretty much kind of sort of done what I've come to do, which is figure out what's going on with this display code. I feel pretty comfortable being able to display non-animated objects, and for animated objects, I'm going to have to go back into XL2's original code and do a similar dissection, but now that I have a better handle of what's going on. The only thing I need to do is I need to directly access XL2 why the lighting is the way it is. Normally I'd ask stream if they want me to do anything else, but there's no one left in stream. So I'm going to pack it up early today, and like I said, I'm going to try and get GitHub, the GitHub links up so that if you guys actually want to, you can take a look at what I'm doing. Just attach them to each YouTube, what do you call it? Each YouTube submission video, whatever, for all the old streams. And I'll, what else I got to do? I'm going to do that. I'm going to see if I can't, you know, do a crappy little 2D game. Probably not even graphics, just like a text-based whatever, just to get a proof of concept up. Just to show that, you know, I can get some basic thing going, so I can use it as a miniature code base for the real stuff. Because a lot of what I'm doing right now is just struggling with using XL2's codes and XL2's tools to get this thing running on my end. So anything, yeah, so go ahead. By the time this thing uploads to YouTube, I'm hoping that the GitHub stuff will be on there, so you'll be able to see this end result, this this combined code of XL2 Ponut's contributions and my the bones that I made earlier, and then all the previous streams on YouTube should also have something like that. GitHub links or GitHub codes or comment numbers at least that you can use to download a copy for yourself. I've already got some basic logic for a Mean Bean Machine clone, so maybe I'll try doing that as a text-based thing, just using Joe Engine print statements, just, you know, for fun. Otherwise, I guess I'll probably see you guys next week unless something else comes up. So, see you around.